Money's the motivation, money's the conversation. You on vacation.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Just Know This. Baby, it's been too long.
It has been too long.
It's been
I'm
too long.
happy to be back. But
I'm happy to be back too.
before we start, I want to say sorry about the loss to the Chargers, but I think it's time. It's long overdue. It's time. You become a Steelers fan.
No chance.
It's time.
No.
I'm going to save this for you. I'm waiting. I told you. You got to join the dark side. Join the dark side.
Never.
There's always room. There's always room.
I mean, being Kylo Ren would be dope.
Yeah.
Woo! All right.
All right, man. Feels good to be back. So we're going to get right into it now.
I don't know about that now.
Come on. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. I told you this.
I'm
Join
not.
the dark side,
Never in my life will I ever be a Steelers fan. I'm making that clear right
fine.
now.
But anyways, to start the show today, we're going to talk about some devastating news the Eagles received this past week. Carson Wentz going down towards ACL, found out that he'll miss the rest of the year. Do you think the Eagles still have a chance of making the Super Bowl without Wentz?
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Without Carson Wentz, I know they're a playoff team at this point, but how far? I don't. Will they even win one game?
I don't think they will.
So let's take this into account. Even with Wentz playing most of the game last week against the Rams, there's including that game up to week 15, they were only 11th in the league in total offense with Carson Wentz.
Right.
And he was in MVP discussion. Think about that.
I think he would have been that.
Well, yeah. In my opinion, he would have won MVP
For sure.
But now, no. I mean, obviously,
No, it would have been Wentz.
Yeah, but that team is, and because you also have to consider that team is third in total defense. That defense is no slouch. But and it's behind Jacksonville and Minnesota. But they're 12th in pass defense, which has been their weakness. But they're first against the run.
Well, that's because they're always winning, so teams have to pass.
Yeah.
So that helps the rushing defense.
For sure.
Because their offense clicks so fast that teams need to catch up.
And it's going to hurt their pass defense for sure as well. But at the end of the day, on offense, they have some players on offense. I mean, they have Alshon Jeffrey. I hate Alshon Jeffrey. Side note. Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz has been their biggest contributor on offense this year, other than Carson Wentz. But at the end of the day, Carson Wentz was their savior on offense.
Right.
The Eagles led the league as a team in third and longs. They averaged over 9 a game.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, if you think about it, that's a lot. Like in the span of a
it's
game.
not good.
Every game.
It's not good to
be
having these third and longs.
Especially against defenses nowadays. Like it's in the NFC.
In the NFC, the defenses are ridiculous.
Yeah, and then but Carson saved them. Saves them multiple times, which is why they have the record that they do now. It was almost like he was, and I've made this comparison before. He reminded me of like he was in Aaron Rodgers' body, but he was doing it like Russell Wilson style. If that makes sense. I mean,
no. I understand.
Wilson and Rodgers were already comparable, but it's like he blended the two. You know what I mean? He was that good, honestly. But now without Carson Wentz, like their line is banged up. Their skilled players on offense, like hurt. Zach Ertz hasn't he missed a game?
I think he missed a couple games.
Yeah, a couple games. And then Ajayi hasn't done anything for that team. I don't think. But so now Nick Foles is going to be their starter. I have his career marks right here: 60.5% completion percentage, and 56 touchdowns. And like for a backup, that's not bad. Like in my opinion, that's like a great, and that might be the best backup you could have. Honestly,
I think he's one of the better backups that the NFL has.
Definitely. But it's not enough to get through the NFC. I mean, 56. He has 56 touchdowns in his career to 27 interceptions. That's almost 2-1, plus 24 fumbles.
Yeah.
So
a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, I mean he still has an 88.1 passer rating, but he's not gonna. That's not enough to get through the NFC.
I mean, it's like we said in the beginning, Wentz would have been the MVP.
Mhm.
You can't replace the NFL MVP.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just that simple. I mean, this year, Carson Wentz, the one thing with Carson Wentz, the one problem I had with him was his completion percentage was way down compared to these other top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's almost under 60%
Yeah.
for completion percentage.
Which-
That's not good.
That's like Cam Newton.
But what was his, biggest thing that put him ahead of some of these other quarterbacks?
His ability to improvise.
His ability to run,
Yeah.
to scramble out of the pocket,
Mhm.
to make plays where you think he's going to get sacked, but he turns it into a first down.
That little pivot he has is it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Nick Foles doesn't run.
No.
Nick Foles is a statue back there.
Mhm.
That's my biggest problem, and that's why when I hear all these, I've heard a lot of people think that this team can still make it to the Super Bowl and possibly win with Nick Foles, and I don't see it. You take away that 2013 year Nick Foles had. I mean, this is in 2012, 7 games, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 2014, 8 games, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 2015 with the Rams, 11 games, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And then the Chiefs last year, he played 3 games, 3 touchdowns, no picks. You take away that 2013 season, and he's not that good of a quarterback.
No.
I'm sorry, he's a backup quarterback. That's what he is.
Like you said, without that 2013 season, he's honestly like a Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah,
hasn't done
he
anything.
is. He is. And another thing with the Eagles, their wide receivers don't create great separation. If you watch them play, they don't create the separation like Keenan Allen does, like Antonio Brown does, like AJ Green or Julio Jones.
Yeah.
They don't create that separation. It's just Carson Wentz can put it in that exact
Yeah.
spot. That's how good he is. And I
He
don't think
really
Nick
is.
Foles can do that.
No.
And like you said earlier, the NFC, it's too tough right now.
Yeah.
You got the Panthers defense, you got the Vikings defense, you got the Saints defense, the Seahawks defense,
The
the Rams offense.
and their defense.
Yeah, well, their defense has been a little shaky. It's
Just-
a young defense.
But in recent weeks, but in the course of the season, they've been a great
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah, but
I mean,
the thing with those defenses, they get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Eagles line is banged up a little bit. I can see these teams bringing 7 guys in the box and blitzing every time because Foles can't move.
well, I don't know how many of those teams have good enough like are good enough at the second level and in their secondary.
I would say the Vikings are the one team.
Yeah.
The Vikings, the Saints have been the surprise.
Yeah.
They're up there. Even the Panthers,
Arguably.
arguably the Panthers. But
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
I
not
see what-
saying
yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying you bring 7 guys every single play, but
But also, all those offenses have, defenses have an offense to complement it.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
Now they don't.
I actually saw a video a couple days ago of Eagles practice.
Yeah.
Their center, Jason Kelsey. I don't know if you saw that, but no, he's not hurt. But he was, they were practicing and he got very frustrated and he stormed out of the practice field. And
I did see that. I did see that.
On another team, you'd think, okay, he just had a bad play, whatever. But on this team, I'm thinking that's frustration. That's frustration of him knowing that they had the chance to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now that their quarterback's gone,
And this could have been their shot because they were in prime position,
Exactly.
honestly.
and
Yeah.
like you said, I don't see them winning a game in the playoffs.
Against these teams?
Because some of these teams that they could be facing in the first round, they could be facing the Saints in the first round, the Seahawks, the Packers if they make it, the Cowboys if they make it, the Rams. I mean,
Yeah. I hate, this is a separate topic, but I think I might, this is going to go against our playoff predictions. I don't think the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs, dude.
well, that's fine if you don't think that. I mean,
But
it's just,
but they lose I think the Seahawks would beat them still.
I think they would
Honestly.
too with that defense and then Russell
they
Wilson.
did beat them.
Yeah. And, it sucks because you thought that this was the year for the Eagles. Obviously,
really did.
they don't have any Super Bowl rings. I think you have to wait another year, Philly fans. I'm
You'll-
sorry, you have to wait one more year.
I feel the pain. I feel
You
the
just-
after last night. I kind of feel the pain,
Yeah.
dude. Oh,
You cannot replace a starting quarterback in this era of the NFL.
No.
If you lose your starting quarterback, it's so hard.
It's a passing league, like we've been saying.
Look at the Texans when they lost Watson. Look at the Packers when they lost Rodgers. They held on well enough, but they were still 5-2 when Rodgers went down.
Exactly, that's why.
They're 7-6 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
2-4 in 6 games is not
Not
good.
No.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe next year for Philly. The NFC is just too tough right now. Losing what could have been the NFL MVP is just ridiculous. You can't replace that.
Speaking of the NFL MVP, we're going to be talking about the NFL MVP next and who we both think is going to win it.
I think you already know who